So Alpha 3.4 is currently with the Eva Carti, and it looks like it's going to go to the wider PTU probably by the weekend, and with a live build hopefully for the 20th of December. I believe that's still the plan. It was confirmed that there was no holiday live stream, but there may still, and probably will be, a holiday special, sort of like pre-recorded video like we had last year. Last year, on the 22nd of December, we had the 2017 holiday special pre-record.
Yes, it's 5 a.m. in the morning.
Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Alpha 3.3.5 is now live. I am Safety Boy. Look at my safety equipment. I've got goggles and a hat. Oh my god, I'm terrifying. Star Citizen Alpha 3.3.5 is now live. Let's go over those patch notes and the teasers that are in Lorville for the IAE, the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, or the Anniversary 2948. So what's new with the 3.3.5 live patch then? Well, they've added the planet Hurston. Hurston is the first planetary location we have, and as such is considerably larger than moons and has varied biomes. Additionally, you will find several outposts labelled HMC, Hurston Mining Centres, scattered about the surface. They've added some new moons as well, 4 new moons in fact, Aberdeen, Magda, Ariel and Eta, and populated them with a handful of outposts and a single biome each. However, these biomes do look quite varied now with their new techniques. There is a new major landing zone on Hurston as well. It is Lorville. Lorville is a large city and as such only has one legal area for landing and port entry when it comes to actually landing your ship and having it stored there. However, you can get access by landing outside. There are 6 gates where you can land. Space above residential and commercial areas are protected by a no-fly zone. Players will be warned when they are entering that zone via HUD warnings, visual indicators, and increasing audio alerts. There is basically a orange bright shield, which is not subtle at all at the moment, which does break immersion, that will appear when you are too close to the city, effectively showing that if you crash into it, you will die. So, you literally, if you crash into that, your ship will be destroyed. The city has a bar with an interactive bartender and personal equipment shop, Tammy & Sons, that includes an early implementation of the multi-tool. To move around the city, there is a train-style transit system and signs to help guide the way. This city is broken up into 3 major
Vi sætter alle pris på hverdagens moderne hjælpemidler. Det nyeste fodplejesystem fra Scholl fjerner hård hud bedre og hurtigere end en traditionel fil, og har til med et ekstra rullehoved til blid eksfoliering. For bløde fødder uden besvær. Det nyeste fodplejesystem fra Scholl. Denne jul kan du give bløde, smukke fødder til en, du holder af med Scholl.
Greetings, citizens! I am failure to report, and so it is with the arrival of a new milestone patch to the PTU. We take our first look at what is on the way to backers everywhere. So, let's talk about Star Citizen 3.4. With the final milestone patch of 2018 now in the hands of the Public Test Universal, or PTU, we are getting our first look at the state of Star Citizen until sometime late first quarter 2019. And I have to say, I find the direction Star Citizen is being navigated pretty amusing. Now, keep in mind that patch 3.4 is what Chris Roberts called 3.4 Lite, because the bulk of its features were pushed into 3.5 due to time constraints and not being able to finish the planned features before the holiday break. But I do think that 3.4 Lite gives some really interesting insights on what is to come, even with the limited content in this particular patch. 3.4 sees the introduction of some new mechanics to the game, such as overheating mechanics for the quantum drives, power plants receiving ramp curves, and probably one of the most noteworthy new mechanics is targeting of subsystems on ships. We also see some new ship additions with 3.4, from the 600i touring model to the Freelancer Max cargo hauler, Dur Explorer, and the Mist gunboat. So, if nothing else, we can close out 2018 on the high note that the Freelancer line is finally complete. The PTU is currently still missing the new Anvil Hawk, but the month isn't over yet. I won't, however, be surprised if we end up seeing the Hawk delayed until a follow-up patch later on with 3.4. CIG has very readily shown off the Freelancer and the 600i touring over the last month, leading up to December, yet the Hawk has been strangely absent from any other promotional material. In addition to the new mechanics and ship, CIG has also expanded Lorville by opening up the Business District, adding some new fluff to the city. While the Business District does feature some nice-looking architecture, it still leaves the function and purpose behind the city with a lot to be desired. But I don't see that getting remedied until Star Citizen is much further along and has more gameplay depth in general. So, while 3.4 has been mostly exactly what Chris promised it to be, a light version of what 3.4 was originally supposed to be, it does accomplish fleshing out two ship lines as well as some improvements to other aspects of the persistent universe. However, I think one of the biggest takeaways from Star Citizen 3.4, from my perspective at least, are the ship system changes and the direction I see Star Citizen moving towards from here. Over the last few months, we've seen a lot of talk about Star Citizen's future flight model, while also slowly getting revisions of various game mechanics, and over the last year, I find it interesting that Star Citizen seems to be slowly shifting more and more towards emulating features from Elite Dangerous. When I stopped backing Star Citizen and tried Elite Dangerous out for the first time, roughly a year ago, one of the hardest things to get used to and tolerate was Elite's flight model. I hated the main-centric feeling, the plane-in-space flight model that Elite had compared to the incredibly agile flight model Star Citizen used to have. Even without decoupling, Star Citizen used to boast some amazing flight performance. You could yaw 180 degrees while thrusting in reverse to target an enemy behind you while still maintaining your intended course without having to even decouple. And the ships felt like they responded to you on command versus the slow and cumbersome maneuvers of Elite Dangerous, which heavily rely on pitching and using boost to gain quicker turning times. Even with flight assist off, Elite's flight model feels like a pale, empty shell compared to what Star Citizen used to offer. And yet, Cloud Imperium seems to be steering Star Citizen more and more into the realm of Elite Dangerous in terms of ship performance. A major mechanic in Elite Dangerous is heat management, which comes from firing weapons and using other systems, while also stressing your thrusters through trying to maneuver in atmosphere or boosting too often. We now see Cloud Imperium implementing overheating on quantum drives, a preview to a key feature coming in the flight model rework, which is having thrusters that will overheat from heavy maneuvering or stressing them in atmosphere. These changes to the new flight model, along with the coming heavy focus on main-centric flight, will be pushing Star Citizen more towards World War II planes in space. While we haven't gotten our hands on the new flight model yet and things can change, I personally find the trend of adopting Elite Dangerous into Star Citizen with thrusters that can burn out from heat, and the idea of gimping Star Citizen's ship agility with planes in space, a bit disturbing of a trend. The overheating is extremely concerning when Cloud Imperium seems focused on greatly extending time to kill and eventually phasing out the hit point model for disabling a ship. This means much increased dogfighting times, all while hoping to avoid the ridiculous thruster cooking mechanic and praying that it doesn't turn your ship into a floating brick. Moving yet further into the Elite similarity bubble is the new implementation of the subsystem targeting being implemented into Star Citizen with 3.4. Though currently I don't know if anyone could really tell yet how it works, seeing as there's no HUD display for what you're targeting or how that system is going to work. So, while it is possible I might have missed CIG talking about implementing this system anytime soon, I'm fairly certain that the subsystem targeting kind of came out of left field, and I honestly don't understand the reasoning for it. But let me explain. The average Star Citizen is ecstatic when they can maintain pips on the target at all against NPCs. Throw in player versus player combat, and it's worth celebration when most players can stay on target for more than a few seconds. Now, currently, time to kill enables most players to land kills with a few lucky moments of landing hits because the current damage model is essentially hit points.
Med smuttursrabat kørt over Øresundsbroen for kun 100 kroner hver vej. Hvad gør julen til noget helt særligt?
Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. It is the MISC day at the 2948 Intergalactic Aerospace Expo anniversary sale and free flight. There are a lot of words going on there, aren't there? Jeez. So, what do we have on the floor today? We've got the MISC Reliant. I actually think this is my least favourite ship in the game with the way it flies at the moment. We've got the new flight model coming up soon. It's a second-tier starter ship. It's sort of like what they've deemed it. I would say, in most situations, with the base variant especially, skip it for the Avenger Titan. I'm sorry. Some people probably love it. It is very B-Wing-esque. When it is in its other sort of like flight position. Basically, it can be deployed in this position, sort of flat, or it can go up into more of a pillar. Well, I mean, it's the cockpit turns, I suppose, rather than the other. That gentleman's probably going to get in it. Got the Prospector as well. Prospector, very much worth a fly, because you can go around now, press tab to turn on scan mode when you're in it, hold left click, ping, and you might find some asteroids or some little mineable rocks on planets and moons to mine and get rich. Woo! Probably the best way of making money at the moment in Star Citizen is from mining. So definitely worth checking out. Get as much alpha UEC as you can by mining in the short term while it's rentable. Oh yes, we've got the Razors over here. So the Razor is one of the true racing ships in the game, and now there are 3 of them. So you've got the standard Razor, which is going to be good across sort of like all courses. It's built for a mixture of agility and speed. It's going to have a very fast top speed, but it's got gun mounts as well, but you strip them off, it's a racer more than anything else. And you've got the LX version coming in this lovely white livery. I actually think it's the best looking in white, but this is more of a dragster. It's going to have a faster top speed in a straight line, but takes a hit on agility. And then you've got the EX version, I believe it's called. And this is sort of like the stealthier version, and is like employed to float around the verse by like the UE military or the advocacy to listen in on people. But that sounds quite cool to me. Like I want to see how this actually works in game eventually. It's an interesting one, but I suspect that they are all suitable as solid racers and maybe very light interceptors. So bear that in mind. We have the Miss Freelancer. For some reason, I forgot what it was called briefly. It's stuck in the ground. I like the idea of the Freelancer, but I prefer the Cutlass because it's cheaper. It is a cool ship, though. Certainly going to be a favourite with some people. And then we have the Starfarers. So this is the Starfarer Gemini. Yes, it's definitely the Gemini. And this is a more armoured version of the Starfarer. And basically the Starfarer's role is to be able to farm and mine fuel from gas giants and other sources, and then also refuel other ships in space. So you're going to be making money from a mixture of those two things. This is the more armour militarized version, I can't words, and this is the more civilian version, the standard Starfarer. It was the first big ship we had in game, and it is still pretty glorious.
Try again. I got online last time. Yes, but it's 5 a.m. in the morning. I have to stop this. I got online last time after took a break 1 hour or 2 hours. Yes, game is loading. 5 a.m. in the morning. And yes. But I got to this refueling place, but I got stuck. Because I don't know how to land the spaceship on a good way. So I got stuck inside, yes.
To be honest. But that's sort of it from the show floor today. Of course, available
Yes.
on the MISC chip shop today. So as flyable and for sale, we've got the Reliant Core, we've got the Freelancer,
Yes, I look my upload.
the LX and EX, we've got the Prospector,
And then it's good night.
it's very much worth a buy. And we've got the Starfarer and its military version, the Jaguar as well. But in production currently, that is still purchasable but not flyable or usable yet, in the conceptedness, we've got the various modules for the Endeavour available separately. So it can basically take a variety of different modular setups with these modules, and I will link my old video on the Endeavour so you can actually see how that all links together and exactly what you're getting with the Endeavour. We've got the Hull A, which is the smallest of the Hull ships. I don't really see much of a point in the Hull A in the game because even the very small ships have a better hull, better capacity than it for cargo at the moment, but I have to wait and see. Maybe it's got some advantages there. We've got the Reliant variant, so the Tanner, the Sen, and the Mako, which is the news van. The Tanner is the combat variant, and the Sen is the more exploration, sciencey one. What else have we got? We've got the Hull B, bit more use out of that. It's got a much larger cargo bay. We've got the Freelancer variants as well, the Der, the Max, and the Miss. The Der being the sort of like exploration variant, the Max being the more cargo variant, and the Miss being the militarized missile variant, proper missile boat. I think it's got like a reloading missile system that it can reload from missiles from the cargo bay, which is pretty useful. Hull C, I think that's going to be a very common cargo ship for smuggling as well. We've got the Endeavour. Now the Endeavour is basically a floating laboratory, sort of like modular setup ship that can do a mixture of exploration, science, and farming, whatever you set it up to do. And there's quite a few setups there. They've got the Hull D, and this is getting into like the much larger size of cargo ship now. We've also got that ridiculous sized Hull E, which is one of the largest ships we are aware of in the game at the moment. It can just carry a horrendous amount of cargo. That is available in a limited amount, and it is available on Warbond, but also store credit. So check that out if you're interested. For me, it's only sort of like a super org purchase or group purchase, although I'm sure some crazy people will go, I want that, I want to solo haul in the most giant hauling ship. But obviously, there's going to be a load of issues being attacked by pirates and stuff if you're going through more dangerous systems in the future. And it's as it's one of the larger cargo ships, it's probably going to be a while before it's in game, so please bear that in mind. There's also the Endeavour Master Set, which is available in a limited amount as well, for $1,000, and it comes with all of the modules. Let's very briefly go over what some of those modules do for the Endeavour, because different setups will give you an entirely different experience. So you've got the service equipment and crew pod, basically supports more crew for the ship. You've got the fuel pod, actually go further, stores fuel for you. You've got the general research pod. So this is going to do a lot of different sciencey things once we have the science mechanics in game. And I think it goes on to talk about you can create compounds there. So maybe there's some sort of drug manufacturing, but you'll be able to gather data there. You'll be able to analyze like biological samples and that sort of stuff, and potentially make that sort of information into sellable information from researching new compounds, from new plants, from biological data, stuff like that. Sciencey things. You also have that medical pod and landing bay, and when they're combined together, basically you have what they deemed the Hope Hospital Endeavour variant. So that medical pod will allow you to have various medical equipment, some of it being the top tier stuff, allowing people effectively to respawn there and to be healed from near death. And you also have some of the other mixed tier stuff, lots of beds for people to get healed, to get to spawn from, that sort of stuff. That's the idea of that hospital. You could run it as potentially a mobile spawn location in the future. That's the sort of stuff they were talking about with that. Or it would be like for servicing a large organisation, or after battle. There will be missions for it, but it's quite a large facility, is what I'm trying to say. And that landing bay allows people to land and take off from your ship. They've talked briefly about the potential of having ships willing to be called there, and now they have that with the service beacon system. You could wait in the landing bay for a ship to come and collect you without having to jump out in space and EVA or whatever. I think the size of that landing bay is approximately 2 Cutlass Reds, but we'll have to see once the Cutlass Red has had its rework though, just in case it's the metrics change, and obviously the Endeavour and its modules have not been built out yet. Got the biodome, that's for farming. You want to farm, get the biodomes. Super Collider, that's for overclocking and tweaking components and weapons and systems. You can get better items basically by overclocking them there. And overclocking different from literally pressing the button to overclocking the ship at the moment. This is literally tweaking systems and items to be fractionally better, is the idea. You've got the telescope array, that's more focused for exploration. You'll be able to detect and scan anomalies from long distances. Maybe you'll see a black hole or something that's far too far to actually travel.
Yes, I'm done for tonight. It's 5 in the morning. I have to stop this.
One of the modules that for some
Yes, have to stop this. Good night. And yes. Good night. And it's 5:15 in the morning. I have put more files for the night, but I have problems uploaded stopping after like 1 hour, half an hour, 2 hours. So I do that 100 times. Yes, I'm ready for tonight. And my dirty glass. Yes. But I got the game. I got the Star Citizen game. I'm happy I got it. But now I'm crashing a lot. If I cannot get online tomorrow, I think I'll try to write to the support if they can help me. But I think it will keep crashing Yes, but I've been online and I got the game and I have the